السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. باب الرحمة 100 جزء. سعيد بن المسيب رحمه الله قال أن أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول جعل الله عز وجل الرحمة 100 جزء فأمسك عنده 99 وأنزل في الأرض جزءا واحدا فمن ذلك الجزء يتراحم الخلق حتى ترفع الفرس حافرها عن ولدها خشية أن تصيبه. So last week we were covering the chapters regarding kindness, being merciful to others, and we learned few ahadith last week that the more a person shows mercy to people, the more Allah will show mercy to that person. So they both are connected with one another. The way we treat others in this dunya, that is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will deal with us in this dunya as well as in akhirah. So we need to adopt this habit of being kind to others and having this quality of mercy in ourselves, and show kind and mercy to others. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in return will be kind and show mercy on us too, inshallah. And this chapter is also regarding this quality of mercy. In this hadith, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu mentions that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made rahmah, made the mercy in 100 parts. So there are 100 parts. You can divide this rahmah, this mercy, into 100 parts. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept 99 parts of the rahmah for himself, and he sent down one part of that rahmah into this dunya. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us that one part of that 100 parts of rahmah that is sent to this world, that one part is so large, is so great, that everyone in this dunya, whether they are human beings or animals, every creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they show mercy to one another, it's the effect of that one part of the rahmah. Imagine the 99% of the rahmah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept. How merciful He will be. So this 1% is such that يتراحم الخلق, that all of the creation in this dunya, when they show mercy with one another, it's because it's the effect of that 1% of the rahmah. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives one example, and he says, حتى ترفع الفرس حافرها عن ولدها. Even when a horse is making sure it does not put its foot on its baby to protect that baby, it's the effect of that 1% of the rahmah. So even the animals, the mothers, when they have kindness and the mercy to their kids, to their babies, is the effect of that 1% of rahmah. And now from this we can understand how much merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. This is why when we say Arham ar-Rahimin, that He is the most merciful out of all the people who can show mercy. No one can get to His level because He has 99% of that mercy, and that 1% is divided into the entire creation of the universe. And the next chapter Imam Bukhari rahimahullah is bringing here is Babun al-Wasatu bil-Jar. So here Imam Bukhari rahimahullah is starting new chapters, and these chapters are regarding the neighbors. So initially it was regarding the quality of mercy, and now he's going to bring some different chapters, and about 8-10 chapters that are related to neighbors. So this first chapter he brings Al-Wasatu bil-Jar, being kind to the neighbors. You know, this is very amazing, and this is something that not a lot of people might not know, that our deen, our Islam is so perfect, so beautiful, so complete, that it gives us instructions on how to live with one another in this dunya, how to treat your neighbors. It's not just about ibadah, it's not just about praying salah and fasting and reading Quran. It's actually tells us about how to treat other people and other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is, scholars mention that when a person follows this etiquette, this order of the Sharia, of being kind to the neighbors, this order itself is so great that when a person adopts this quality of being kind to his neighbors, this can become a source of da'wah and invitation to others towards Islam. Because when the people will see that the Muslim treats his neighbors in this way and others don't treat in this way, when the Muslim follows the instructions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when it comes to treating the neighbors, this can be a call to others towards Islam. So it's like a living da'wah. Instead of verbal da'wah, instead of talking to others and bringing them close to Islam by mouth, this is practical da'wah. This is showing them what Islam is. So here, Imam Bukhari rahimahullah brings one hadith. عن عائشة رضي الله عنها عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ما زال جبريل يوصيني بالجار حتى ظننت أنه سيورثه. Aisha رضي الله عنها narrates that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, Jibreel عليه الصلاة والسلام kept on, ما زال يوصيني. Jibreel عليه الصلاة والسلام kept on emphasizing me to be good to the neighbors. He kept on emphasizing, not just once or twice or 3 times. He kept on over and over, was emphasizing on being kind to the neighbors. So much so, حتى ظننت أنه سيورثه, until I thought, Prophet ﷺ is saying, until I thought that now he will tell me that your neighbor will inherit you too. He will become your warith. He will inherit you after you pass away. Because this is the most closest relation with a person, that after you die, when a person passes away, his wiratha, his inheritance goes to his children, not even the grandchildren. They go to his direct children first. So the wiratha, the inheritance, goes to the very closest people to that person. So this is the highest level of showing closeness, that a person is the warith. So Prophet ﷺ saying, I thought Jibreel ﷺ would tell me that the neighbor will become your warith, meaning that was the only thing left. He had emphasized so much that I thought the next step, there's nothing left, and now the next step is that wiratha also for the neighbor. But this hadith shows us that there is so much importance, so much emphasis given to being good to our neighbors. Like I was saying earlier, this could be a practical da'wah, that taking care of the neighbors, that making sure that we look after their needs, making sure that if they're sick, ask them if they need some medicine, ask them if they need any help. If they are not doing so well, ask them if they need some money, ask them if they need some food, ask them if they need some clothes. So looking after the neighbors, making sure that we are kind to them, we are good to them, and they are happy with us. Not giving them a chance to complain about us. And then next hadith, Bukhari rahimahullah brings here, again showing the emphasis on being kind to the neighbors. عن أبي شريح الخزاعي رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليحسن إلى جاره ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليكرم ضيفه ومن كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Abu Shurayh al-Khuzai radiallahu anhu says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have said, whoever believes in Allah and the final day, whoever is a mu'min, whoever believes in Allah and he has iman in the final day, on the day of Qiyamah. So whoever is a believer, what should he do? If you are a believer, what should you do? فَلْيُحْسِنْ إِلَى جَارِهِ. Then you should be kind to your neighbors. This is part of our iman. Like I was saying earlier, this is part of the iman. Iman, our deen, is not just about salah. It's not just about Quran. It's about how we deal with others. Good treatment with others. This is part of our iman. So if you believe in Allah and you believe in the final day, فَلْيُحْسِنْ إِلَى جَارِهِ, then you should be good to your neighbors. And then number 2, second command here is وَمَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ فَلْيُكْرِمْ ضَيْفَهُ. Whoever believes in Allah and whoever believes in the final day, he should honor his guest. He should honor his guest. This is again an instruction of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a command of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What does it mean by being kind to your neighbors? Honoring your guest. That means that if some guest arrives at your home Whether you called them to your home or you did not call. A lot of times we consider, oh, that's a guest who we invited. If someone just knocks on our door, we will, we'll tell them we're busy, or what do you need? No, even if he's invited or uninvited, if someone arrives at your home as a guest, فَلْيُكْرِمْ ضَيْفًا. Honor your guest. Don't just tell him to go away. Don't tell him that, oh, there's a hotel, you can stay there, or there's a restaurant, you can eat from there. No, bring him to your house and treat him with good. Honor him. Give him respect. And what does it mean by giving him respect? Making sure that he sits on a good spot, making sure that the room is clean for him, making sure that he's comfortable in the house. So honor him, give him a pillow and whatever he needs. Honor the guest. It's not just invite the guest and give him food. No, honor him. Give respect to that person. This is one of the instructions of our deen. So, وَمَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, whoever believes in Allah and the final day, then he should honor his guest. A lot of times nowadays, we see that, and as children we didn't understand this, but now we understand that, when there's da'wats and there's big parties and different weddings and different things, nowadays it's a very common thing that the food is placed on a certain area and everyone has to make their own plate. Whereas we learned from our elders, from our akabir, that respecting the guest is that you bring them the food, not allowing them to go get the food. And this is something that is normally neglected. And this is an instruction of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Honor your guest. And whichever way, this is not honor where you make him stand for 10 minutes and 20 minutes and he has to wait and then he has to wait for his turn to come. So honoring the guest is that you place him, you make him sit, you don't make him stand, don't make him wait in the line. Bring the food to that person. This is honoring the guest. And of course, different things come in this, whatever we can do to honor the guest. Like I said earlier, making sure that the place is comfortable for him, giving him a good spot to sit. If he needs a pillow, put a pillow for him. If there is a sofa, make him sit on the sofa. Give him some comfort. Give him honor, and not let him. So there's space on the floor and there's space on the couch. I'll have him sit on the top. So honor the guest, whichever way we can. And number 3 instruction here is وَمَنْ كَانَ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. Whoever believes in Allah and the final day should say only good things, or he should stay quiet. As a mu'min, our iman requires us that if we want to speak, making sure that it is something of good. Don't say anything that is not good. So something that is a lie, backbiting, cursing, don't say any of those. If you have something good to say, then say it. If you don't have anything good to say, then just stay quiet. فَلْيَقُلْ خَيْرًا أَوْ لِيَصْمُتْ. Then say something good or just stay silent. And then Imam Bukhari rahimahullah brings another chapter regarding the neighbors, Babu حَقِّ الْجَارِ, rights of the neighbor. So our neighbors, they have certain rights that we need to do for our neighbor. We have to do for our neighbor. And what is that one right that every neighbor has? Prophet ﷺ mentions here in this hadith. عن المقداد بن الأسود رضي الله عنه يقول سأل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أصحابه عن الزنا قالوا حرام حرمه الله عز وجل ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال لأن يزني الرجل ب10 نسوة أيسر عليه من أن يزني بامرأة جاره. وسألهم عن السرقة قالوا حرام حرمها الله ورسوله فقال لأن يسرق من 10 أهل أبيات أيسر عليه من أن يسرق من بيت جاره. Miqdad bin Aswad radiallahu anhu says that once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked the Sahaba a question. Now normally Sahabas are asking Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam questions. Here Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking the Sahaba a question. That, oh Sahaba, you tell me, what do you think about zina? About adultery? What is it? How is it? Sahaba answered, haram. It is forbidden. It is haram. Allah and His Messenger have forbidden it. Sahaba gave the answer. Then Rasulullah ﷺ said, a person, if he was to do zina with 10 women, it is lighter, it is minor compared to him doing zina with his neighbor's wife. 10 zina is lighter than compared to 1 zina with the neighbor's wife, because the neighbor has so much right. You, as a neighbor, you had a right to take care of his family. You had a right to take care of him, of his house, and making sure that others don't do any harm. So you as a neighbor have more rights. So you neglected all of those rights. And the trust that he had on you, he's living next to you, you broke that trust. And so doing zina with your neighbor's wife is 10 times worse than doing zina with any other woman. And then Prophet ﷺ asked a second question to the Sahaba. What do you think about robbing, about stealing? Sahaba responded, Haramun, haramaha Allah wa rasuluh. It is haram. Stealing is haram. Allah and His Messenger have forbidden it. Then Rasulullah ﷺ said, a person, if he was to steal from 10 houses, it is minor compared to him stealing from his neighbor's house. So this is one right that we can learn from here, is that protecting our neighbors. Protection. This is, every neighbor has a right on the other neighbor, that we need to protect our neighbor. If he is not at home, looking after his house. If he is at home, making sure that others don't do any harm to this house and to the family members of this house. So taking care of each other, looking after, protecting one another, the neighbors. This is a right on every neighbor. And if we notice here, this is not saying your Muslim neighbor. A lot of times people confuse that, oh, these rights are for Muslim neighbors. No, this is not for Muslim neighbors. This is for any neighbor. This is why scholars mention that there could be 3 types of neighbors. 3 types of neighbors. One neighbor, according to the hadith, we can understand that there are 3 different levels of neighbors. One, the highest level of neighbor is that neighbor who is a Muslim and who is your relative. If that person lives next to you, he has 3 rights. He has a right of the neighbors, he has a right of a Muslim, and he has a right of being a relative. He has 3 different, so he's the highest level of neighbor, because he's your neighbor, and he's a Muslim, and he is your relative. And second level will be that he has 2 things. He is your neighbor, and he is either a Muslim or he's your relative. He has 2 rights. He's second level. And then the third level is he's just a neighbor, he's not a Muslim, and he's not your relative. So every neighbor has rights. And if he's a Muslim or if he's your relative, he has even more rights. So these ahadith that we're learning, they're not about Muslims or relatives. These are specifically just for neighbor, whether he's a non-Muslim. A lot of times we don't know who our non-Muslim relatives, neighbors are. A lot of times people will ask, who lives next to you? Oh, some non-Muslims. You don't know the name, you don't know how many family members live there, you don't know anything, you never looked after them. So looking after the neighbors, this is one of the instructions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's one of the instructions of our deen. And then another hadith Imam Bukhari rahimahullah is bringing here, again very similar to, in fact it's the same one as we learned before. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما زال جبريل يوصيني بالجار حتى ظننت أنه سيورثه. Jibreel عليه الصلاة والسلام kept on emphasizing to be kind to the neighbor until I thought that he would say that he will also become your inheritor. He will inherit you and he will become your warith. And next hadith عن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله عنه أنه ذبحت له شاة فجعل يقول لغلامه أهديت لجارنا اليهودي سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما زال جبريل يوصيني بالجار حتى ظننت أنه سيورثه. Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As radiallahu anhu. Once a goat was slaughtered. One of his goats was slaughtered. Meaning that there was some meal that was getting prepared. So Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As radiallahu anhu, he said to his slave, have you given any to our Jewish neighbor? So Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As had a Jewish neighbor. Have you given any of this meat, any of this food to our Jewish neighbor? He asked this multiple times. أهديت لجارنا اليهودي? Did you give any to our neighbor who is a Jew? I have heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam kept on emphasizing me to be kind to the neighbor until I thought that he would tell me that he will become your warith. So when we prepare our meals, when we have some food, making sure that we give some to our neighbors, whether he's a Muslim or non-Muslim. This is a non-Muslim, he's a Jew. And there's different levels of non-Muslims. We all know what level Jews are, and when it comes to being non-Muslims. So being good to even the non-Muslims who is a Jew. Prophet ﷺ is emphasizing on this. So no one can say here that Prophet ﷺ, our deen, only emphasizes on being kind to our Muslim neighbors. No, specifically it's mentioned, Jadin al-Yahudi, be kind to your Jewish neighbor. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to always be kind to our neighbors and fulfill their rights, and this could become our practical da'wah to our Muslims. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to practice upon these. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.